What's up? I'm Ayla.
This is Let's Talk BL, a boys love podcast.
Welcome back to the podcast. It is Sunday Series Sunday, that day of the week where we talk all things one series and one series only, and buckle in because this one is potentially cursed. Happy Halloween.
Ah, fun. Technically I'm cosplaying Khaotung from the episode because he did wear a Catterday shirt in one of the ups.
Did. So if that wasn't enough of a hint, we are talking about the Eclipse. Also, if you just for some reason didn't read the episode title,
I know.
You blindly clicked on it.
We do always pretend we're making you wait to see what the episode's about, but we fully are
it's in the
the Eclipse.
Especially if you're listening on Spotify, because we make the album, or we make the poster, the album art for the episode. So yeah. But thank you for playing along with us. Thank you for indulging us.
Being silly.
Yeah.
The Eclipse. Okay, let's get into the nuts and bolts because we have interesting thoughts about this show.
I know. I think that people potentially will be shook if. Does that age me? Is that an old person saying now?
I don't know. But honestly, I think people would agree. Just like quite a few people have agreed with us on other series Sunday where we were gave our honest opinions, and they were yeah, I felt the same.
Oh, we always give honest opinions.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean here's the thing. It doesn't mean that you love a person or a company or an artist any less. Yeah. I think I can't remember what creator it was that I saw recently tweeted something along the line. I want to say it was Jordy actually. Tweeted.
I saw this too. Yeah, it was Jordy.
Yeah, Jordy had a really interesting tweet, and I was yeah, fully I agree with you. He was disagreeing with a show and not liking a plot point in a show doesn't mean I hated the show.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean I didn't like the show. Doesn't mean I'm coming for the show. Just because I don't like an aspect of the show doesn't mean it's a bad show and doesn't mean I hate the show. And that's how I don't know. That's why I agree. I agree with you, Jordy. 10 out of 10.
You can have your own thoughts and opinions. Ayla and I regularly disagree about things, and I don't like her any less.
It sounded like you're gonna say, and I don't like her. So
do you like me less because I differ opinion from you?
Absolutely.
I think
now.
I think that's the thing, is that people think that you have to be around people that think and act like you, and
boring.
That's the worst.
And you know what? That's what they were trying to make them do in the Eclipse. So you
oh
know
my
what?
gosh, look at this. Life lessons. Okay, let's do the nuts and bolts before we get into the good stuff.
Let's do it.
It's a good old GMMTV.
Shout out GMMTV always.
Oh my god, remember that series Sunday where I kept saying good old for some reason? So many times.
No, but that tracks.
Oh, it was pretty funny. Season 1, actually, back in the day.
Back in the day.
Go listen to some season 1 series Sundays. Those were awesome.
Season 1 was rough, but season 3 is also rough. So everything's rough.
Is this our 3rd year curse? We don't have a 7-year.
We're not even on the 3rd year. We're just on the 3rd season.
Oh, right. 3rd season. Oh, my God.
Anyways,
mercy.
It's a GMMTV show available on YouTube.
Here's a fun fact. I think I'm going to make this a recurring thing because I've done it a couple of times. Fun facts about the director.
Okay.
This director is super cool. Her name is Golf. And in the 2019 Thai general election, she was elected to parliament and became Thailand's first ever openly transgender MP in the House of Representatives.
That is fascinating.
What does MP mean?
Something of parliament.
Member of parliament.
Member of parliament.
Okay, there we go. That's so cool. She taught English and then she went on to direct shows.
That's cool.
Super cool. GMMTV. Here's the thing. GMMTV really employs some cool people behind the scenes.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of people kind of give GMMTV a hard time sometimes,
but
for being a machine.
Right, they're a business. They have to make money, but they're giving the right people the right jobs.
Yeah,
I think they're doing a great job. This is not a GMMTV.
Not sponsored.
GMMTV. Don't sponsor us. Just keep giving us boys. I'm cool with that.
Sure.
Okay, it stars first as Ak.
Yes.
Khaotung as Ayan.
Yes.
Or A. They call him
A a lot. Yeah.
That's so fun. Would you consider Neo Louis a co-lead? No.
No. I mean, not in the way that we structure series Sundays.
Right.
No.
Okay, that's it. Now for the synopsis.
Okay,
a
synopsis
long
voice time. It is a very long one, so buckle in. The country's leading all-boys school, Sapelo, is strictly governed. Rumor has it that a curse will punish students who act out, a curse that grows stronger as the solar eclipse nears.
Dun, dun, dun.
But where there are rules, there will naturally be those who want to break them. A group of students calling themselves the World Remembers unite to challenge the school's authority and demand their rights. Head student prefect Ak and his cohorts are tasked with dissuading the rebel group. Then Ayan, a mysterious new student, arrives. Ak is suspicious of Ayan, this boy whose behavior is so odd and who regularly challenges the school's norms. Ayan has enrolled in hopes of discovering the person who pushed his uncle Dika to suicide. His only evidence leading him to Sapelo School is in his uncle's old notebook. Ayan's method of dealing with Ak's scrutiny is to toy with him. That's it. Familiar. That's the end of the synopsis. It sounds like there should be more. But there is not.
No. Now it's funny because I was like, this is the type of show where so much happens in the second act of the show that I forget the first episode. And now I've been reminded of the first episode.
Yeah.
Because that's literally all it is. It's like you find out that the teacher has died. You found out that Ayan is a bad boy.
Yeah, he's like, yeah,
and
he's a bad boy. He wears a hoodie.
Yeah.
That's how you know he's a bad boy, is he wears a hoodie.
I really want that hoodie, actually. GMMTV.
GMMTV knows what they're doing with the merch. Listen, again, say what you will, but like, it's super fun that I can buy the bracelets from Not Me. Whatever, I don't care.
Even if you don't remember buying them.
I don't remember buying them. It was like a passion fueled purchase.
Listen, as people who went to Thailand and fully bought so many things that the boys wear, GMMTV is genius.
Also, it's fun for me. Like, I get something out of it too. So
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So this is how you know he's a bad boy, is he wears a hoodie.
A hoodie.
Yes. And he has the hood up frequently, which again is how you know he's like dark.
Which I love that Ike. Why does that sound weird? Because I don't have a Thai accent. Ike has Ike. No. Ak. That's what it is. Wears the hoodie at the end. They put the hoodie on together and they like go out into school holding hands. Oh, it's such a good moment.
So cute.
Okay, this show is interesting. So it started out really plot heavy, right? Like you're trying to figure out
honestly how this whole show is really plot heavy. You just eventually stop caring about the plot is what happened.
Well,
not you specifically, like everyone, like the viewer.
The plot drops because suddenly we have a BL to shoot. That's what I feel like what happens. We're having a special appearance by your dog. Was he in this? Yeah. Oh, good times. All the stuff is resolved and you're like, okay, can they just kiss now?
Right. Again, it's like the plot continues throughout. Like if you really watch each episode and think about it, it's very plot heavy throughout the whole show. You just kind of forget why you care about or should be following the plot.
I felt
because the plot becomes the BL of it all.
Well, I think that the plot for me wrapped up when we found out, oh my God, in the craziest plot twist ever, that
the teacher and the uncle were
fiancés.
Right.
And then this is going to sound so bad, but the anticlimactic part was that the teacher committed suicide because he was depressed. Like there was no cause.
There was no, yeah.
So like they made it out to be more dramatic than it was. I think that's why they revealed that the teacher and the uncle were fiancés, because once you find out like nobody actually caused his death, because that's been the whole thing the whole time.
Right. Well,
but you're like, oh,
I think that depression part of it, I actually think that was an important plot point, because you then see you have this like
parallel,
right,
with
Ak and Ayan. Yes.
Okay,
there's like a parallel there.
Agreed.
And so that's why that was important, is that like, yes, it wasn't necessarily caused by something that another person did to him, but it is still a cause and it is still like an important and something you have to like confront and face, right? And like it's almost that like that's the curse, right? Like that there isn't a curse. Ultimately, like there's not a curse, right? Like we've all figured this out. I hope that like the curse isn't real. Like it's fake, it's fictitious.
Right.
And so like I think the plot point here and the reason for that is that like, yeah, you're right. It wasn't that one person caused it or a curse caused it. It was like it was depression, and like there's a parallel there, and like that is the curse, right? I think is what like it is bringing out.
Okay, now that I'm thinking about it, maybe this show is a lot deeper than we realized.
Every time.
Because
every time.
Here's the thing. This is what we realize at the end, right? That the curse isn't real, that it's the students doing it because it's first character doing it.
Right.
And then he stops because he feels guilty. And then what's Louis's character's name?
So, right.
It's Thua doing it after that. And then once we've realized like if you just stop doing it, the curse will not be a thing. And so maybe that's the moral of the story is that like we are in charge of our own actions
and our own destiny
and our own
right? Like there's
it's so deep, because then when everything when that whole storyline gets resolved and now we start shooting this BL and it becomes more about Ike. When it becomes about Ak coming to terms with his sexuality,
right,
and making choices for himself that aren't guided by anybody else but himself. I mean, that's really beautiful because he then has it's all in his hands. He's the one that has to make his decision for himself. And then it's funny because there's the scene at the end where Ak has come out to his parents, which was a very sweet scene.
With the pictures. It's so nice.
So sweet. When they're sitting at the dinner table and Ayan is like, would it be okay if I wasn't just his friends? Wasn't just his friend. I was like, I really hope that Ak has told Ayan
that he's gonna do this.
That he came out to his parents. Not that like it doesn't really matter that he's telling him he likes this boy. Like I hope that he already knows that he came out.
I feel like if I
was like a full Jimmy situation.
If I was the other boy, I would want to be told that like, hey, I'm gonna tell my parents that we're dating. Like I would want just like a heads up.
Because for a minute it sounds like Ayan is basically asking for permission to date their son, right? Like where he's like, I like him and it's all on Ayan. But it's like, do you know that his parents know that like he's
right.
And it's just a funny moment of like, oh, I hope that like we can infer this because this is like a full like Thua Jimmy like yeah. Where I was like, oh no.
Yeah.
But I just assume and move on and hope for the best.
So speaking of Thua and the whole outing thing and all of that, the conversation around this was fascinating. So like I remember when Bad Buddy was happening, and yes, I absolutely still have a chip on my shoulder about this. I was livid when Pat and Pran are outed, because that's what happens is they're outed.
Right.
And a lot of people, including you, made the argument that like, well, they weren't really outing, like he wasn't really outing them. It's not that he was outing their sexuality. It's that like, he was saying that like they're dating, so he's outing their relationship. No, because you were like, people don't really care, like their friends clearly don't care, and like and I was like, no, they have not come out themselves. They have not told their friends themselves that they're gay. And what he has done in that moment when he drops the curtain is like he is outing them not only to their friends, but there were like other people, like their peers,
strangers,
not necessarily strangers, like acquaintances, right? Because they're all people that were working on that play, so like knew them. But like again, it's just like peers. It's like classmates in that room when he did that. Like he was straight up outing them, and I was like, that is not okay. Like that's not okay behavior, no matter how mad you are. Honestly, even Nanon tried to make this argument to me when I brought this up to Nanon. Like I fully like was so mad about this that when we interviewed Omen Nanon, I was like, Nanon. I was like, do you think this was okay? And he was like, even Nanon was like, well, he's his friend and he was treating him badly and he was just upset. He's just going through something. He's just going through something.
Truly, he took your own argument.
Fully. Nanon, he pulled a he's just going through something to me. And I was like, no matter the circumstances, it's not okay to out someone. And there were so many people that were just like, freaking Jimmy defenders, okay?
Why wasn't even going through something? Because it turned out he was hella straight.
Yeah, why wasn't even going through something?
Like,
he was just annoyed that his friend was ignoring him.
Yeah, because at that point we thought he was in love with Pran. Right. And so we were like, okay, like I can understand, but like he's still not forgiven.
No, I could never even understand. I was like, it's never okay to out someone, especially as publicly as that, right? Yeah. First of all, it's not okay to out someone, period. But like, that was a very public way to out someone. Right. And there were so many people that were like defending why. They were why defenders out here. And then this Thua thing happened. Mm-hmm. And so many people turned on Thua so fast.
They were like, oh, he's a villain.
Like, this is not okay. He is the villain. If I see anybody defending him, like, you're dead to me. Like, no, like all this stuff. And I was like, whoa. Let's rewind to Bad Buddy and tell me why. Tell me how Thua is any different from why.
Yeah.
And why ends up being forgiven like almost immediately.
Right.
So like tell me how these two characters are any different from like a viewer perspective.
Yeah.
Tell me how. And what I'm saying is like they're both wrong, right? Like doing the wrong thing with the right intentions, you're still doing the wrong thing. Mm-hmm. It is still absolutely inexcusable to out anyone, period, especially as publicly as both of these characters and Thua did. And like
this is big Sandy vibes because he's like, I'm doing something for the greater good.
Again, like what was I think confusing about his whole like monologue, his speech that happened there is that a lot of what he was saying was not wrong, right? Like he was calling this person out for like being fake, for saying the wrong things, for doing the wrong things, for being bad, right? For doing bad things.
But like, why are you going to do it publicly?
He can do that publicly, but there was no reason to like he could have said all of those things without saying, and you guys are dating.
Right.
Like he very easily could have called him out about all of that without saying, I know y'all are secretly dating.
Because he was just mad that potentially he had put more faith in Ian and was like, you also are to blame here. Like
that's what he was doing. Yeah, that's what I mean. Is like
he didn't just want Ike to be the one to like it wasn't all like potentially he was trying to soften the blow a little bit where he was like, you know, getting onto Ian or getting on to Ak about what he did, but he was like, you know, you have your boyfriend in this with you because he did a bad thing too.
I think he was just mad. Like he was just mad and he was just saying things. He was like word vomiting.
Yeah.
And again, like it's not okay. But I just thought it was really interesting the fan conversation around it because so many people were like, this is inexcusable. He's dead to me. And I'm not gonna lie. Listen, you guys, I'm on the Twitters. I do the tweeting and I saw a lot of y'all from Bad Buddy era, okay, that were like forgiving why real quick, being like, the guy's dead to me, he's a villain, this is inexcusable. So either y'all learned your lesson from why, congratulations, or you're just hypocrites because why? Like, listen, I will say I think Thea is like a much more precious character than Y ever was. Like Y is fully unlikable. Yeah. At least Thea has some likability to him.
True.
So that's all I'm saying.
And also Louis is a button.
Louis is also perfect. It's just like a human and a person. Yeah.
I have loved Louis since Fish Upon the Sky. I fell in love head over heels. I regularly tear up when I see his sweet little face.
Louis is so sweet. He is just a little so
talented and he's perfect.
Go watch our Neo Louis interview because they sing. He sings and he fully forces Neo to sing for us, and then he duets with Neo. It's a whole thing. It's a lot to experience.
He's wonderful.
He is wonderful. It's true.
This was a fun show also for this side couple of Thua and Khan. Neo Louis and Futz was such an interesting, sweet, like bubbly experience, and they were a fun storyline. Like potentially the best storyline in Futz.
Neo Louis in Futz didn't really hit for me. I'm not gonna lie to you because I thought that Louis' character was too oblivious. Like, I was like, this isn't really a fair cat and mouse game because, like, the mouse is blindfolded, basically. Like, I was like, this isn't, the mouse is, like, oblivious. The mouse is, like, over here not even knowing there's a cat in the room kind of situation. So, like, I just didn't really love their storyline in Fuzz.
Well, and for the longest time, Neo's character didn't realize that he liked Louis' character. Like, he was like, He was like, this is a fun boy that I like to bother and be around. And then, like, literally the second to last episode, he's like, oh my God, I think I love this boy.
Yeah, their storyline and Fuzz didn't really hit for me, but I really liked them together. Like, I liked their chemistry. I love Neo, and I've loved Neo for a really, really long time.
Yeah.
Like, pretty much the moment I laid eyes on Neo and, like, I watched him play a character, I loved him. And I've loved him in every single character he's played.
This is another example of a Dome V from You're My Sky, where these characters get such a limited amount of screen time, but they take full advantage of that story. And they take up
so much of your brain space.
Yeah, where I'm like...
Which is full Dome V. Like, the fact that we had hours upon hours upon hours of conversations about Dome V weekly boggles my mind. It boggles the mind, truly.
Yeah, truly, like, Neo, Louis steal the show. I mean, in the last episode, oh my God, this is so funny. We've said truly so much, and we just hung out with a friend of ours who's British, and he was like, do Americans say truly a lot? And I was like, I don't think so.
Yeah.
And now I'm realizing that we say it a lot. So much. There was a scene in the last episode on the beach where they just finished watching the little BL short film that they made, and Neo and Louis give thumbs up, and I was like, perfect. They're perfect. That's the only scene I need in this entire. And, like, First and Khaotung have had, like, so many cute romantic things in this whole episode, and I'm like, but Neo and Louis gave a thumbs up.
I don't know. I will say the Ak-Ayan storyline was my favorite.
It was good.
I really, really love them. I love First and Khaotung together. What's interesting, okay,
they have a logo. Hopefully, does that mean they're forever?
Yeah. What I love so much about the casting of this show is that you've got Khaotung in a ship and you've got Neo in a ship, and those two have chemistry with anyone, and it almost doesn't make sense for them to have chemistry with anyone, because, again, shout out, backtracking to Tanhan Chonlati, a lot of people have forgotten or don't remember that, or just have never seen, because I think Tanhan was like a sleeper for lots of people. I loved Tanhan.
Same.
But Neo's character in Tanhan pursues Khaotung. And fully,
I didn't realize it was Neo.
Oh, interesting.
Like, until we watched 'Cause You're My Boy and you fell in love with Neo, you're like, Neo was that other character in Tanhan, and I was like, what?
No, I loved him in Tanhan first.
That's what I'm saying. Is that, like,
I loved him in Tanhan before I ever watched 'Cause You're My Boy.
Right, but like when we watched 'Cause You're My Boy, that was like you like really were like Neo, and I was like, what?
Because I was like, he's so good. Because I watched Tanhan was the first thing I ever saw Neo in, and I loved that character. I thought he played it so wonderfully, and it was to the point where I was like, I actually kind of hope he does bag Khaotung. Like, I kind of hope he does bag him, because, like, I really love their chemistry, but their chemistry together. Neo and Khaotung have great chemistry together, which, like, it blows your mind when you watch this show, especially to, like, remember that, like, oh yeah, Neo and Khaotung have great chemistry together, but then, like, Khaotung also has great chemistry with Pod, and Neo has fantastic chemistry with Puin, and, like, Neo and Louis are perfect. And then First and Khaotung are wonderful. So I love the casting with this, with, like, you've got one boy in each of these ships that, like, truly have chemistry like a wall.
Which is why that scene is perfect, and you fully believe that Ion could be going after Thua, where you're like, maybe.
Yeah.
I can understand why Khaotung is jealous of this situation. Because Khaotung literally, when we interviewed First in Khaotung, I was like, maybe Khaotung's into me. Like, truly, that man just, like, looks at you.
Bold. That's a bold statement.
Khaotung just looks at you like you're the most, like, there's something about, and that's the mark of a good actor, right? Like, we talk about this, I think, regularly, where it's like, for you to be a BL boy, I have to be convinced that you want to kiss this other boy.
Right. I have to be convinced that you at least want to do it.
You don't have to do it. But like, I want to know that you want it.
I want to believe that you want to do it.
Yes. Yeah. Like in About Youth, they don't kiss the entire series.
But I believe they want to.
I am fully convinced that they absolutely want to.
Yeah.
And so that, I think that's what it is like, you have to be an actor that can look at a wall and you think that that boy wants to kiss that wall.
Right.
Jung does it.
Jung is
Khaotung does it. And so I think
you know who else does it actually, and this is why he's perfect, Baz.
Yes.
And that's why and I recently explained to somebody why Baz fans are the way they are. Like I recently had to explain this to someone and I was like, it's because I'm a Baz fan and I'm probably like, I would say I'm not like, Baz fans are, and I feel like this is not a secret, are known to be psychotic?
Protective.
Again, I just explained to somebody why Baz fans are the way that they are. And so like, I'm a Baz fan and I think that's why I can understand, but like I also have 2 feet very firmly on the ground. Yeah. And so like, but Baz has this characteristic about him where when he's acting with someone else, when he's just interacting with someone else, I believe that he is invested in that person. Yeah. Not necessarily that he like wants to make out with him, but that like he as a I watch him and like,
he cares about that other thing.
That he's invested in this other person, that he wants them
right
in whatever way. And like
you want him to get what he wants.
Right. You want Baz to get the thing he wants. And he does this so perfectly just in like everything. So Baz also recently just opened a YouTube channel. Everybody should go subscribe to it and watch all those videos because they're wonderful and I want him to make more content. And like he doesn't really have that many subscribers, you guys. So I watch him and it's him and these 3 other boys. And like, I remember this episode came out where he's like getting ready for this super match thing where he plays ping pong. Mm-hmm. And I watched that and I was like, I think I ship it. Him and this other boy that I never, like it never would have occurred to me to ship because I've seen them interact so much.
Right.
And it just never would have occurred to me. Yeah. And then I was like watching this ping pong thing and I'm like watching them interact and I'm watching them like they switched hats at some point. They like shared hats. And I'm like, I think I ship it. And just like watching and it's because of the way that Baz carries himself. And I also watched an interview he did recently where like there was absolutely no like sexual tension, but like I truly believe Baz wanted to be there as much as they wanted him there. And again, like that's what makes Khaotung so special. That's what makes Neo so special is that like you watch them become invested in this person that they're interacting with on some level. Right. And you just like they're endeared to you. Oh, because ultimately, right, isn't 100%. That what we all want? Just like out of any person that we're interacting with is that like they want to interact with us, like, or that they're having as much fun with you as you are having with them, right? Like, isn't that what you want? And isn't that why like that's why people get jealous, right? Like that's the root of jealousy,
right.
And like that's why people have their feelings hurt, right? Is like in those situations where they realize like they're not as special to one person as like that person is special to them and things like that. And so it's like when an actor can do that,
it's so
I think it really hits to like the core of just like any human being.
Yeah. And so that's why I think Khaotung plays this character so well because the first half of the show is not about the BL of it all.
Right.
And so he's just a dynamic actor in that, and so really so are all of these actors in this show. Like this show is cast really well because each person is playing a role that really fits them. And so I think that's what's fun. Also, I really liked the 3 boys that played the Remember The world remembers.
Yeah.
One of those boys was in Love Area, which is a fun little moment. And he's also going to he's one of those actors that you have now started to see pop up everywhere. I always love those moments because I'm like, ooh, that means they're like working and they're doing all the things.
Yeah,
Like, you don't have to be a lead in a show to like
Poppy.
do the thing.
Get you some Poppy.
Oh my
God.
Get
that bag, Poppy.
That boy is doing all the things.
Get that bag.
And so that little group was fun because kind of what we've talked about before is that you see these kinds of characters being the butt of a joke. And in this show, they become the reason that there's change and the reason that people are called out and the reason why things have to be different. And they are standing up for something real and important. And so by the end of this show, you realize like they're the catalyst for the change, for the reason why people care about them. Like when Thua starts really going crazy with his curse things, people are really concerned for them.
Yeah.
And they're like, are you okay? Like, this isn't good. Like, you need to stop doing this because we're concerned for your safety. And so I feel like those characters were really important and interesting in this show because also they're very different than like typical GMMTV characters. And this was like outsourced by another production company, but it was, I guess, essentially like funded.
It's a GMMTV production. They outsource the creative.
Yeah. And so I think that, again, it's so smart that like, as much as it feels as though, you know, GMMTV shows are what they are, it feels like they're branching out a little bit with a Not Me and with the Eclipse, with these kinds of shows that I remember the director on Twitter was talking about how fascinating it was that like international fans were so invested in this show because she was like, these are about Thailand issues. Like, this is about specifically Thai society. And she's like, but these types of issues are worldwide. We talk about this too, that like the West, I feel like gets labeled as progressive, but y'all, we just passed gay marriage, what, like 10 years ago?
And quite frankly, it's being threatened right now. So like, if you're in America, you're not paying attention to the politics of that all. Like, gay marriage is in a very tenuous spot legally right now.
Totally. And so that's what I think is interesting, where anything outside of Thailand probably gets labeled as more progressive, specifically in the Western kind of part of the world, where it's like, no, even in certain parts of the country where literally things are supposed to be legal, people aren't acting that way.
Right.
And so I think that's why this show resonates and why there's kind of something for everyone.
What I appreciated about this show is that like each storyline I feel like got as much development as it needed for it to make perfect sense and for it to get wrapped up perfectly. The only storyline that I was like left still like kind of confused about was like AJ's situation.
Right. Like, I swear they were going to hook him up with that teacher.
I still don't really understand what the point of his storyline was.
But then everybody was shipping him with Namo.
Right.
Which was Pawan's character.
And I'm so like, I still don't, again, this is the only one that I'm like, did I miss something? Like, what am I not getting?
Is it normal? Okay, here's the thing. I'm curious about this. In your high school, were you ever friendly with teachers? Okay,
so what do you mean by friendly? So like, I guess I think that maybe I just had like really good teachers where there were like very clear, firm boundaries. But again, I was in clubs, like I did academic competitions. And when you do academic competitions, you spend a lot of time with the teacher that runs that. Right. So I did debate specifically.
Right.
And so like, yeah, you end up being like
not mentor mentee almost.
Right.
Yeah.
With like your debate coach, for example, because like you literally get in like a Suburban with them and they drive you to tournaments out of town. And like, and so like,
because like this teacher was going to like someone's hometown,
but like that was a bit
but
much.
She was like standing with the parents and they were like, don't you want to go join in? And she was like, no, I just want to watch them.
Yeah.
So like she drew a hard boundary, which was great. Because like, so what I was gonna say is I babysat for one of my teachers. So it was still very clearly like, you're the adult, I'm the child, I'm taking care of your children, like employee, employer. And then there was one teacher that like we would stay with after class. It was like me and another 2 or 3 other students that would like hang out with this
like
teacher
in a classroom.
In the classroom. And then the bell, like, because we had 2 bells where like you had a warning bell, and then you had to like the bell to actually be in class.
Yeah.
And so we would like leave at the last second of that bell to go to our next class. And so we would like
I mean,
chit chat with teachers.
I used to get Meryl, who was my debate coach, to like write me notes so that I could just like go work on debate stuff in his classroom instead of like go to math class, which is probably why I'm so bad at math. But like, shout out Meryl. Like, I'm doing fine.
So like more familiar, but not like besties. Like I felt like she very much had a clear boundary with Watt's character, but you're like, why are you going with these boys to his hometown?
Yeah, like I think that like
it was weird.
That storyline was the only one.
And the trailer made it seem like they were gonna bang.
I think what's so confusing about the fact that it was so weirdly developed, is because every other storyline is so well developed that for like his character to have just such a weird situation in general is like,
and potentially because it was male female. Maybe if he had been mentored by a male teacher, it wouldn't have been so like,
no, it
will
wasn't.
they, won't they?
I never got like a will they, won't they from them. It seemed like from the characters, it seemed like that's what the setup was trying to be, but then it wasn't trying to be that, but then it kind of was.
So wait, what development are you confused about? Like what development do you think there should have been?
I mean, I feel like the storyline just kept suggesting different pathways for him.
Is this like, Not Me, where he has to be gay?
Yeah, a little bit. Where it was like, okay, so
there's like, another boy that needs a boy.
I feel like the storyline just kept suggesting all of these different options for him, but then he never got any option. Like he just kind of existed. Like there was no just like development for him as a character, is what I mean. There were like all of these different like roads his character could have gone down, and then he just sat at the fort.
He was a side character that got a lot of screen time and no development that you like felt should have
I feel
been
like
more.
There should have been development because he got so much screen time. Like why was he on screen so much if there's no point to him?
True.
Like I don't get it.
Because he's a cute boy.
I mean, AJ is very cute. I agree. But like I would love to talk to AJJJ. Side note, I would love to talk to AJJJ.
Do you think you'll remember who AJ and JJ were?
Absolutely not. I'm going to have to figure out. Okay. Here's what needs to happen. We need to go back to Thailand someday, and I need to convince GMMTV to let me interview AJJJ in person. And then I will do that thing that like kindergarten teachers do to like when they have twins in class where they like clip different colored clips on them so that they know which is which. I will do that. I will fully like clip, and then they'll pull an AJJJ and they'll switch the clips on me when I'm not looking.
Here's the trick, because in person, potentially there's like a distinguishing feature that we're like a mole somewhere that we don't see.
Except that ATP half the time can't even tell them apart.
I don't think ATP knows who anybody other than
like,
Office.
I remember I was watching a School Rangers thing where they like switched shoes.
Yeah.
Because what was it? Arm?
Chris.
Yeah. Chris had figured out which one was which based on the shoes they were wearing, and they realized that's what he had done. And so they switched shoes.
I love that.
Like, yeah, I would pull like, if you watch The Office, this is like super racist and problematic, but at one point Michael Scott like marks a girl on her arm so that he can tell her apart from another girl. Right. Like that's what I would do. I would like secretly mark one of them and be like, this is how I know. I put like a kick me sign on the back of one of them, but it wouldn't say kick me, it would say like AJ.
Oh my god, I love it so much. Yeah,
those boys would be fascinating to me because they've had such very interesting careers.
Yeah, I feel like just now are they in separate shows.
Yeah,
didn't they have them together in shows a lot?
Yeah. I mean, they were technically separate in He's Coming to Me, but AJ wore a JJ jersey,
but they were both in that show,
right? But not like,
I'm talking about like in a show together.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
Both cast.
Anyways, yeah, that I just thought that storyline was weird and confusing because they gave him so much screen time that it seemed like he should have had an actual storyline, but he didn't have a storyline. Yeah.
I love First and Khaotung as a ship and as screen partners. I think they're, GMMTV. I think GMMTV watched our season 1 interview with Innocent and listened to Maxine, who was like, I don't know, they were friends. Maybe they want to kiss. We should have put that on a shirt. But like, there is something pretty magical about all these boys who are now in couplings with people they've been friends with. Especially First and Khaotung, who have been like friends for 5 years. Because what they always talk about is like the trust. When you act with somebody, you have to trust them, and especially in this situation, you have to trust that the other person is gonna like meet you where you are and is going to be a safe space to like pretend to be in a relationship with. Especially I think in this show where the content is so heavy and there were so many emotions.
Yeah, and poor First already has so many emotions.
I mean, we went into our interview being like, I don't want him to cry.
Right. We were like, we don't want him to cry. And then he fully almost cried. And we were like,
no, we didn't want that. And so I think that's what's really cool and special about First and Khaotung, especially, is that, I mean,
First just has such big emotions.
He has big emotions.
Yeah.
And Khaotung is a superb actor. And
Khaotung is very mellow too. Like, I think that's what's fun about them together is they're so incredibly different.
Opposite, yeah.
They're so incredibly different. It almost doesn't make sense for them to be friends.
What storyline, GMMTV, if you're listening, for 2023, if we get another Khaotung first?
Well, I mean, 2023 is already planned out. We know this. So, like, nothing's going to change. Although, I mean, this whole, like, Gawain Chris bombshell.
Oh, my God. The drama on Twitter today, y'all. Let these boys have jobs. That's what I don't understand about any of this drama is I was like, your boys are employed. Why are we complaining?
Well, never mind.
What storyline would we want to see First and Khaotung in next?
That's like what type of story, or like relating to another BL?
No, just any type of story, any type of character, any type of genre.
I feel like Sweet First needs something where he can be the like happy-go-lucky one, because like think about Not Me and think about like the last 2 shows he's done, like Not Me, he was so heavy, like he had this sweetness to him and this happiness to him, but like also very much like this dramatic storyline.
What else has he been in? I actually haven't watched much.
The Shipper.
Oh yeah, you should watch that.
I still haven't watched that, but I know he's in it.
You've got to watch it because
I watched that weird 3-way kiss they did on like during that fan meeting. Yeah,
it has and
I don't love a body swap. I didn't watch the cow one, Cupid's Last Wish.
Oh, it was so good.
I didn't watch Cupid's Last Wish either. I don't like a body swap. I don't like that storyline.
The Shipper isn't a BL,
but it's a body swap.
Yeah, but it's not a BL. That's the thing. It's
right.
Like, so
I don't like a body, like I don't like Freaky Friday either. Like I don't like a body swap show. Like,
or that movie.
I don't like a body swap.
But like you should just watch it for and because it's absolutely ridiculous.
Isn't it like is this triggering? Is it like doesn't like a brother kiss a sister?
Yes.
Yeah.
I think so.
Yeah.
Oh. Because they're trying to like switch their bodies back.
So they have to kiss?
I can't remember.
I feel like someone needs therapy.
I mean,
this is how I feel, on a personal level.
GMMTV made questionable choices before 2022, it feels like. 2021?
Listen, every company makes questionable choices and then they end up killing it. So like, listen, not to stand on my soapbox, so like Star Hunter's a great example of this. Like, was Gen Y questionable?
Because they let us take Mosaic out of town.
Was Gen Y questionable? Yes. And I feel like we've admitted this so publicly. That like, yes, Gen Y was questionable, but also it's way deeper than y'all think. Like, you just have to watch it back to back. I'm telling you, it'll make more sense.
And also Bangpo are exceptional actors.
That's still a trauma block kind of storyline. But they're killing it with Big Dragon. And I feel like if you haven't given Big Dragon a chance, you are purposely just wanting to dislike it. A, or B, you're watching it and not really paying attention.
Yeah.
Or C, you're watching it and you're like, they're not kissing enough.
True.
Big Dragon kills it. The storyline is great. The production is A+. The actors are beautiful. Again, okay, and look, I will just say this. We got a DM from somebody today who was like very upset because their friends don't like Big Dragon. I can't even say out loud why they don't like. I can't even say it because I'm so heated. I'm so upset.
Listen, every show is not for everyone. However, you should absolutely give every show a chance.
You should give every show a chance. Maybe I'll watch The Shipper and give it a chance. Although, like, Brothers Kissing Sisters is not my jam.
At least, like, 2 or 3 episodes chance.
Right.
And so, you know. Anyways, The Eclipse, give it a chance. It has first in Khaotung.
Plus, honestly, it's a very good, well-rounded show. I do think it, like, loses its direction a little bit towards the middle. Yeah. Where it's like you forget.
Got it. Oh, no, it's right here. There's a bug.
Ew.
It's just like a baby moth. There it is. Bye-bye.
Now it's crawling on you. I hope you're okay with that.
It's just a baby moth. Oh my God, this thing will die.
I feel like, yeah, this show lost plot in the middle. Yeah. Like, it definitely lost its direction.
I didn't understand the transition after Thea outed everybody and was like, this school sucks, why are we doing this, we need to make everything right, to the BL filming,
right?
That there was something lost there.
Yeah, right. Like, we became it was highly confusing at times.
Like, cool, because it gave us Ak and Ian's story development.
Sure.
And it gave us sweet moments between the two. Also, fun little set relation. Ian's apartment is Tarn's apartment from season 1 of Tarn Type. Anybody else notice that?
Love that.
Did you notice that?
I did not. I mostly trauma block Tarn Type out.
I feel like Tarn Type is essential viewing for a BL fan.
Oh, it's essential viewing. You absolutely have to watch it.
But never watch it again.
But yeah, I also trauma block most of it out. That's not true. Actually, weirdly, I like remember so much about Tarn Type.
Yeah.
Like, I remember the posters he has on the walls in the like dorm.
Yeah. Well, because the 1975 are iconic.
Truly. I remember so much about Tarn Type. Also because I really love Golf. Like, Golf was the first BL boy that I was like on board with.
And that's where we were first introduced to Run, who
was my favorite.
Never know would be a friend of the podcast.
I love Run. I miss you, Run. You're not listening to this.
Go watch our I Long Nye vlog, because we got to hang out with Run so much that day because he speaks so much English, and we were
also, like, we knew him. Like, he was like, because we were friends. Like, we were alone in this sea of just like industry people that we did not know, and then like it was this like magical moment of like we saw Run and he saw us from like across this like concrete pavement, and he was like, and we were like. And then like I felt at home once again.
It was magic.
Yeah.
So yeah.
The Eclipse was ultimately, I think it was a good show that lost its way somewhere in the middle. But like,
do you know what this show is? This show is a good show. This might be controversial. Whatever. This show is a good show to make edits from. You know those shows, like, it's a great show. It has a good moral of the story. It has a great, there's plot in there, but like, this is a show that has good moments.
Okay, I feel like that's not a bad thing. Like, Bad Buddy, excellent edits. Like, it's excellent for edits. Yes. And like, also, here's the thing. Gen Y is great for edits for certain ships.
Binkbo.
Yeah.
Yeah. You just need a fast
because like you definitely shouldn't care about the Bankbo plot. You definitely should trauma block out the Bankbo plot.
But like Bankbo,
like the plot
have
of
chemistry.
It, but like their chemistry
Bankbo
is so
were
good.
On an Idol show, and KO was like,
"I'm gonna give you a BL." Fully, the judge on this like singing competition was like, "I'm gonna make a BL for you." Because,
all they did was sing together.
Honestly, I am not a Delulu, and I very purposely am not a Delulu. Like I I police myself very like heavily. I have only ever been to Lulu 2 times in my life.
Well, because like it's weird if you think about being Delulu, because in real life you wouldn't do that. Like I mean, you do that to me in real life.
What do you mean?
Where you're like, you're obviously dating. You're obviously in love with this person.
If you want me to spill your business on the internet, I will. But like, talk to me about going on like. Never
but
mind.
like, usually, like that would be weird for your like if you saw 2 of your friends hanging out and you're like, "Are you dating? What are you doing? Are you?"
Yeah,
banging?
but you don't just hang out.
Just hang out. Anyways, continue on. Not Delulu, but Bangpo.
Right. So I'm watching Superboy, which is the idol show they're on. And in the finale, everyone who's in the finale has gotten to invite somebody who is like not in the finale to perform with them. And like most of them chose like SB5 members or like famous people. Like one of them chose his mom to come on stage, right? And Bank Tora chooses Bonus, and it's truly this like wonderful moment. And I'm watching it, and again, I've only been to Lulu 2 times in my life, and
it's
fully
magic.
I was watching that finale, and I go, I think maybe they're dating in real life. Like in that moment, I'm watching it, and I'm like, I think maybe they're real. I'm like, I think maybe Bangpo is real.
And we've met them in person, and we're like,
and I know they're not real.
No.
I know that they're just really good at their jobs, but like I'm watching this and I'm like, maybe it's real.
He's a good friend.
Anyways, yes, Bangpo is something in Gen Y where like you absolutely should not want to watch that plot because the plot is garbage.
Yeah.
But the boys have such chemistry that it's wonderful to watch.
It's a fun edit. Yeah.
Yeah.
Ooh, in the comments, tell us what show gives you the best edits.
Oh, yeah.
Because I will go down some rabbit holes with some edits.
You know who ended up having good edits from You're My Sky, which was so unfortunate.
Yeah. I don't watch those edits.
I remember seeing them when they came up while the show was like airing, and it was like, even then I was like, I can't.
Hard pass. No,
yeah, it's a no for me on that ship. Except for that, like, I will say those 2 have chemistry. It's real confusing. It's real weird. He's just a really good friend.
Let us warn you now.
He's a good looking guy.
Let us warn you now that when Sia's new show comes out, this will be a Sia only podcast.
Sia podcast. But it'll be a Cute Boy Thailand podcast. Anyways, we have gone off the rails.
Yes, we need to learn how to pronounce the name of the show.
This has been Let's Talk BL. Don't forget to like, subscribe, follow, and keep up with all things Let's Talk BL at Let's Talk BL.